You know how we had the formula under Tito, and I have no nostalgia for Tito, but that's another story. This bratstvo I jedinstvo, brotherhood and unity. I claim up to a point it functioned insofar as it was based in dirty jokes, racist jokes. I think racist jokes played a great, you can imagine how I was almost lynched in an American campus when I told this, but they played a great progressive role. For example, we Slovenes were and are, it always surprises me, you know, so politically incorrect observation, to what extent cliches are usually true, but that's another story, you know. We Slovenes are supposed to be misers, you know, people who don't like to spend money. So you know what's the, yeah, it's true, yeah, you know, of course it's true. And I used it when I was in the Yugoslav army, you know what I did? Once only I invited my fellow soldiers to beer and bought them beer. And because they perceived me as a Slovene, I became a legend. A Slovene who is not a miser. It was the best investment I did. For the whole year, oh, he's a good Slovene, they were inviting me and so on. Our standard joke is what? And we are really like that. You know, a fairy, you know, the stupid magic entity who fills your wishes, comes to a Slovene farmer and asks him, I will do whatever you want to you, just remember, I will do to your neighbor twice as much. No? You know what is Slovene farmer's answer? Take one of my eyes. Because then, and this is the basic Slovene principle. If I get a little bit, but the neighbor gets more, no, it's better if I lose a little bit, just that the neighbor loses more. Okay, these are we Slovenes, no? Then the Montenegro friend, I remember, immediately jumped in and said, you know, Montenegro, they have earthquakes and their cliché is lazy, no? You can imagine what was his story. You know, how does a Montenegro guy masturbate, no? He digs a hole in the earth, puts the penis in and waits for the earthquake, no? He's too late. But you see how it works even now. I claim this, now we are enacting the true brotherhood and unity. This is how it worked. And now I come to the climactic point. The best experience of this at its clinical purest, I report about it in one of my early books, so I'm sure you don't know it, which is not translated, was with an Albanian friend of mine, soldier in Yugoslav army. Namely, we were almost friends, becoming friends. But then something was missing. We were still this official cold friends. Respect, no? And then the guy made the first move. Okay, I don't know if this is a racist cliché, no? I love Lasik, but I was told that with you, you can joke about everything, but not about your mother and sister. That it's not good to tell you, I will fuck your mother or what, no? Okay, so he approached me one morning, and I was very shocked because he was an intellectual. And he told me, I fuck your mother. And I noticed what was the message. The message was, let's become truly friends. And I accepted the logic. Believe me, I never had problems with replying dirty to dirty. You know what was my immediate answer? Go ahead after I finish with your sister. No? No? Okay, so you know what then happened? Now comes the ethical miracle. Then we embraced, we became friends, and it's not what you think now. Then we were spending hours telling dirty stories or what. No, we were both intellectuals. He was more than me. We were very cold, just to remind ourselves that we are really friends. A wonderful small ritual developed. Every morning that we met, instead of saying hello, good morning, we didn't even say the whole story. He told me mother, I told him sister. You know, it was just a reminder we are still friends. So I was always fascinated about this ambiguity of obscenity. On the yes, to go so that you will see that I'm nonetheless a good feminist boy, no? I'm not saying these jokes solve everything, because, I mean, my God, the first feminist reaction, and this should be a test for you. If you pretend to be a feminist, ask yourself, did you immediately feel what is wrong with this joke? That it's, nonetheless, it's the typical male pact about the exchange of women, no? No. Yeah, it's not. Okay, but then I would like to have the opposite Here I'm a feminist. I would like to see two women say, fuck your father after I finish with your husband. You know, that would be feminism for me. Then you are a good feminist, okay? Okay, sorry. Okay, no, sorry, let me go. 10 years ago, when the war was finishing, but when I was telling in United States this story, a woman from Sarajevo who escaped from there attacked me like, what are you saying this? We are in a tragic situation and you are just telling us we should just across the lines, I mean front lines, tell each other dirty jokes. But then I told her, sorry, but what's so bad about it? If you do this instead of shooting at each other, what's bad about it? Here we enter the other, much more ominous level of obscenity. This is what fascinated me so much in the I hated it, Yugoslav army. Why? Privately, I admit it. As a private person, I'm a kind of a neo-fascist. I like order, discipline at all levels, even in love life. Like my favorite saying by Lacan is, my fiancée is never late for an appointment. Because the moment she is late, she is no longer my fiancée. You know, like, there must be order. So I went with great hopes into Yugoslav army because I thought at least there will be order. Well, if some of you are old enough to serve it, you knew beneath the surface of order, it was one big chaos of obscenities, obscene jokes, whatever. And it took me a long time. Now, I will tell you another thing which I only mention once in my English book, which is the worst selling, so I'm sure you don't know it, but I love it. The story of a doctor's exam, you know, the story which I witnessed. It's the best story. Because there you have ideology at its purest. It is at that point that almost, as in a kind of epiphany, I understood what is power. It happened in Karlovac, you know, Croatia, close to Slovene border. I was there. Well, we had this. We didn't have there a proper, how do you call it? We didn't have a proper doctor's office. We just had a student who was medical student, so he was there if some of us got slightly wounded. He slept in a room, and you will see why this is important. In that room there was a wash basin for wash, and above on the mirror there were stuck this, you know, from pre-pornographic times, these photos of girls just half naked, not even really pornography. You will see why this is important. Okay, so once a week a doctor came from military hospital and we had a collective examination. We were there waiting in line and each of us had to stand up and in front of others and say what is wrong. Okay, I was there quite by chance, then something very mystical happened. One guy stood up and said, as you say in the vulgar Serbo-Croat, that he has pains in his penis, no? But he said in Serbo-Croat, boli me kurac, which, you know, means something slightly different, like fuck off, no, and so on. This already started laughter. But then the doctor asked him, what do you say? And he said, no, it's quite serious. So the doctor told him, okay, undress yourself. He did it, and he said, the problem is I have great pains with my skin around the head, I cannot pull it down. Then the doctor said, okay, show it to me, pull it down. Then it doesn't hurt, you can do it. Then the soldier said, no, it's only when I have an erection. Then, now comes, it's even worse than you think. Then the doctor told him, okay, drkaj, jerk off, do it. And then something absolutely obscene happened. The guy masturbated, tried to get an erection. Of course, it didn't work. Then the doctor went to that mirror, took the photos, and showed them to the guy, look, gledaj, kakva pička, gledaj, like, look at this. Look what, drkaj, look at it. What man are you? And then I got it. At the same time, the doctor was looking at us and started to laugh. It was the most oppressive, obscene solidarity. But this is not the same as the joke with my Albanian colleague. I claim this is how power functions.